All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you're joining us from today. Welcome to this month's Datacom Community Webcast. Today, we're going to be covering some of our educational offerings. But before I hand you off to Nikisha and Angelica and Al, just a few things for me. A few questions along the way, and we always hope that you do. Please use the questions box along the right-hand side of your screen. We'll probably go through all those at the end. If for some reason we don't get through all of them, if we run out of time or if something requires some research, I will make sure the team gets everything that they need to follow up with you. Let's see, that's the first thing. Second thing, we are recording the session, so that's why you're all muted. The replay will be available out in the Datacom community either later today or sometime tomorrow. And the last thing from me is we want to make sure these sessions are valuable. So with that in mind, I pulled together a quick survey that will pop up at the end of the session. If you could stick around for 30 seconds or so and give us some feedback, we would really appreciate it. That's it for me, so take it away, Nikisha.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for attending our webcast today. My name is Nikisha Newberry, the product manager for Datacom. This session will cover an overview of our educational courses and badges offerings, how you can access, register, and find those trainings and badges, and what courses and badges we have available. I'm actually now going to turn over control to Angelica Giraldo, our program manager for Broadcom Mainframe Education. She's going to lead this session on our Datacom Education offerings. So Angelica, I'll turn it over to you and let you introduce yourself.
Thank you, Nikisha. Hello, everyone. As Nikisha mentioned, my name is Angelica Giraldo. I am the Program Manager / Curriculum Manager for the Mainframe Software Division. I have been with Broadcom for 24 years as of last week. On the line, I have with me Mark Hunter, who is the Senior Instructional Designer for the Datacom product. He has over 20 years experience with in the software industry, has been with Broadcom Software for 7 years. On the line, I also have Al Johnson, who is our Datacom subject matter expert with over 40 years experience. The course catalog is what I want to introduce you guys to today and where to get the copy of that, as well as our product course list. This is what we used to know as our learning paths, but they're our product courses. I also want to introduce you on how to register for access to learning at Broadcom. Let's start with the community.broadcom.com. This is where you want to start. The goal is to go into hover over the communities and select mainframe software. Once you're there, scroll down to about halfway through the page and click on mainframe software, mainframe education community page. This is a link that I highly recommend we bookmark. I want to discourage you from downloading the PDF files because as new courses are introduced, the different course lists here will be updated. So you will now be looking at the latest and greatest if you have saved it to your hard drive. So this is our product course list. And over here, you will see the list of our mainframe course catalog, the link to it. In the mainframe course catalog, as the course list, you will find not only the title of the existing courses that exist, the descriptions, durations and descriptions. So let me just show you Datacom for the purpose of this demo. When you click on the Datacom course list, what you will do is open the PDF file. And this is what our course list looks like. It's a list of available courses. They're not necessarily in any order. It's, I would say, a recommended order, but you can take or consume the courses in any order that you want to consume them in. When you click on the hyperlink to the course code, you will be able to see the course description. And this is the description that speaks to what we're covering in the course itself. The overview, the different things that you will learn from the course, the duration, and so on. The course catalog gives you a list of all of our courses, not just for Datacom, but everything else. So if you're a Datacom and IDMS customer, or maybe Datacom and Top Secret, you will find a list of all of our course lists there. Now, to obtain access as an active maintenance customer, you are entitled to our web-based training courses at no cost. The only thing you would need to do is request access to learning at Broadcom. To start that process, you will go to support.broadcom.com and register as a new user. Please make sure you have your company site ID number and use your company email address. This information is used to verify your entitlement so that your courses are entitled, or you're given access to all of our courses. Signing up to the support.broadcom.com page for the very first time, to get access to learning at Broadcom, that's anywhere between a 24 to 48 hour time frame. But if you're already a support user and you have access to this page, what you want to do is scroll down to the bottom right-hand side of the screen and click on Learning at Broadcom. What this will do is launch our Learning at Broadcom page. And here is where you can search for all of our courses, as Nikisha mentioned, as well as our digital badges. So let's say I'm interested in potentially I want to start with the database key concepts digital badge. When I click on this link, it's going to take you to the Credly page. The Credly page is the company that issues the badge, but in this page, you're also able to see all of the courses that make up the questions for this digital badge. So I want to start with this database key concepts web-based training course. I can do the search in Learning at Broadcom with the title or the course code. Going back to Learning at Broadcom, another item that I will mention when you're on Learning at Broadcom, please use the upper right-hand side search box. This box is the real-time box. As your entitlements are loaded on the back end, you may not find your course by using the search box in the middle in the middle of the page. And here's a digital badge. And when you click on the digital badge, when you're doing a search for the digital badge, you will see the courses that make up that content or the questions to the badge itself. So I definitely want to start with the web-based training course if I am not a database user. And then after I complete the training, I want to go to the digital badge itself and answer the different questions. Just as a friendly reminder, if you're not aware, the digital badge question, you can have your course information open on maybe one screen and answering the questions in another screen. So it's an open book digital badge or assessment. Once you earn the digital badge, we highly encourage you to share it on the social media platforms such as LinkedIn, Twitter, and anywhere else where your community, Datacom community, where you're following one another so that your peers are aware of your latest achievement. Let me pause right there and see if maybe Mark Hunter, the instructional designer for Datacom, has anything else to add.
No, I'm good. Covered it well. Thanks, Angelica.
You're welcome. Perfect. So Nikisha, I am ready to pass it over to Al after my poll question.
Let me get this poll question set up here. It's supposed to send it out. As always, folks, I know some of you come to all of these sessions, so you know these polls take a few seconds to distribute, but I'm in the process of doing that now.
And just as a friendly reminder, we want to kind of get an idea of the last time you consumed the training. The reason for that is because Al's going to cover some of the things that we've done differently with our courses. He works very closely with Mark Hunter. As I indicated earlier, Mark Hunter is the instructional designer. Al is our subject matter expert. The content is pretty much put together, but Mark puts it into the format that our adult learners can consume it. So any and all feedback that you have for us regarding Datacom courses, please feel free to share that with us.
All right, so we are collecting responses. It looks like about half of you have responded so far, so let's give it another 10, 15 seconds.
Thank you, Len.
All right, folks, thank you very much. We appreciate your feedback. Al, I'm going to hand you control so you can share your screen. There you go.
Oh, excuse me. All right. Yes, you can see my screen okay?
We can.
Okay, good. And I'm kind of a raspy voice, so I apologize. It's the time of the year. It's the allergy stuff. But anyway, this is the Broadcom Learning main page, but this is also another view of the courseware, specifically the Datacom. And what I would like to do is kind of give you an idea of where we've come from and what the training material that I'm working with, that I've worked with for many, many years, and how we're transitioning it to be a self-taught, web-based type learning environment. And Mark and I work very closely together. He doesn't necessarily know Datacom, and so therefore I have to present him or provide him the presentations in such a way that he can then transition it into a self-taught or self-learning environment tool. And so I will kind of show you just briefly what the progress or how it progresses. So first thing I'm going to show you is this happens to be Data Dictionary Online, but this is the old courseware that was been around for years and years and years. And so it just was insufficient. As you can see, screen images, et cetera, are pretty basic and fundamental. So the first thing that has to occur, and now this happens to be a different topic, but this is the defined multi-user facility. Again, this is the old format. And so you can kind of see it's fundamental, but the thing that you need to notice here is that instructors will use these PowerPoints to go on site or in the learning centers and actually present the material and train people on the various aspects of the Datacom software and the various tools related to Datacom. It could be Data Dictionary Online, Data Query, Ideal, etc. So the material that the instructors had to work with was pretty fundamental, and they were expected to know the subject matter, because if you notice down here in the bottom, if you've seen PowerPoint, there are no notes. So the person that was delivering this training had to know what each slide was meant to present. And so the first thing I needed to do in getting this ready for the transition to web-based is I had to supply all of this information so that it could be presented in the web-based version of this particular PowerPoint, which I will show you. So here it is after I've gone through it and I've added all of the notes. Same presentation, but I had to describe what each of these slides is trying to convey. You know, the concepts behind it. You see the notes on everything, and some of the notes are quite lengthy. Well, I'm not going to do that. So you just get the idea of how we're taking the material and transitioning it. So from here, and I'll go ahead and exit out of that. Same one, get rid of that. Now I'll come back up here. This is Data Dictionary. Here is the web-based version of what I just showed you. Okay, so this is, Mark took that PowerPoint, the last one I just showed you with all the notes on it, and then he transitioned it. I also wanted to show you this page because if you've already completed the course, it'll say that you've completed it and view completion page. Well, what if I want to go back to the material and refresh myself on a particular topic area or a particular lesson that's in the course? This is a drop down. So you can always relaunch the course at any time. And so by relaunching it, it'll just bring up the entire course like you had never viewed it before. Okay, what I'd like to point out, I guess we're not at the beginning. Let me get to the beginning of the course. You can just resume the course and it should take you to the very first lesson. Or you can come down here and you can check. You can see that these have all been viewed. But if you want to go to a particular topic, so I'll just go to the first one, you can click on that particular button and it'll take you to that, that particular lesson. In this case, it's lesson 1. Oh, I'm sorry, lesson 2. It's always up here at the top. And you'll notice on the left-hand side, you also have the opportunity to access any topic area directly. So just for an example, let me just go to Muffplex. Notice there are also subject topic areas, like application connectivity, several topics within that area. So I'll just do Muffplex, and then I click on this, takes you to Muffplex. Oh. And here's the shadow muff. So what I want to point out is that these were actual PowerPoint slides. Here's the notes. This Mark has to take what I've presented or described as what this slide is all about, and he has to integrate it into each lesson. And so in this particular case, lesson 13, he's got the graphic that was there on the PowerPoint. He's got the text that was in the notes. And then also it's been broken down logically so that the way the online WBT presentation works is that you can have things like tabs that have different explanations. Also that you can go across and see different aspects of in this particular case, the muffplex, showing how you would transition from a shadow, a backup multi-user, to become the primary. So in this example, A was the primary, and we transitioned to where now B is accessing the data. Down here, you have information about the process. Okay. So this is fairly fundamental, and when you're doing things like DB utility or a multi-user facility, it's not interactive. The training material is interactive in a sense because you can go from lesson to lesson, in order, either down this way or as I pointed out over here, directly by just clicking on one of these subject areas. So this can also be viewed in all of this information in those notes. I didn't do all that from memory, even though I've worked with this software and all of the various components for like over 40 years. It's a question of, I went to the documentation and the current documentation, and I made sure that everything that's described on each of these lessons is up to date and accurate, so that it's basically a cliff notes of the actual documentation. So in some cases, what I'm saying is that if you aren't sure about, especially something like DB utility, if I were to show you that, a particular function of DB utility, reticks or load or one of the more current features, you could go to the learning.com and you could go to that particular topic area and get your information there as an alternative to going to the actual TechDoc documentation. It'd be your choice. So that's why bookmarking these lessons, even though you finish the course, it's a good idea to keep a link to the course in case you want to go back and review something, especially if you're newer to the environment and newer to Datacom. Eventually you'll retain a lot more, but in the meantime, there'll be an occasion where you'll need to go back and review. Well, I haven't done that in a while. I don't quite remember how to do it. Hopefully the training material would be able to refresh your memory to where you would be successful. So now the other thing I want to show you, now here's the data dictionary key concepts. I didn't mean to evaluate, I meant to hit the drop down, so I'm going to go back. Sorry about that. So I'm going to launch again. And then I'm going to show you online. Unfortunately, I thought I had it already on here. So this is also similar to what I just showed you with the multi-user facility. So the graphics, again, are none of these existed before. Data Dictionary, in fact, that particular training material, this is all brand new. There was not really a PowerPoint course that covered all of Data Dictionary, both batch and online. So this is what we've been developing. This is the most recent effort. In fact, all of the Data Dictionary online PowerPoints have been completed and they're in Mark's capable hands to be transitioned as he can get to them. I believe 2 of them, in fact, have been done. A third one's pending. Each module is reviewed internally by our development staff for technical accuracy. So as I create these PowerPoints, they get reviewed to make sure that, one, I covered everything that is deemed important about the particular facility or aspect that I'm documenting, and also to make sure that it is complete, that it covers all the bases. From there, it gets reviewed, it gets transitioned, I should say, by Mark into the web-based format. The web-based format is then reviewed again internally, and then ultimately our validation partners, which are called beta testers, but our customers that work closely hand in hand with our Datacom development staff, not only to certify new features, but to also verify and certify that the education material that we're delivering is in fact complete and accurate. And so they have a very important role in this whole process. So we're not doing this in a vacuum. And it's also one of the reasons why going forward, you need to check back and see what new courses are available. It does take some time for each of those courses to go through that process before we feel like it's ready for public consumption, because we want it to be the best it can be so that people can learn how to use the software without having to go to some sort of training class. And also to help reduce the need for you to maybe call support because you're not sure. You read the manual and I'm not quite clear on exactly how I'm supposed to use this particular feature. The idea here is that by going through these training courses, it could eliminate a few of those inquiries to our support staff so that they can deal with true problems with the software as opposed to just how to use it. That's important too, but anyway, if you can learn how to use it on yourself, just like YouTube videos, you don't need to go to a specialist or somebody and take their time to explain it to you. You can learn it on your own. That's the objective. So let me, unfortunately, I don't think that's there, but I'll do it from here. I think I can just go back. Was it here? Oh, here it is. I got it. Here's the data dictionary online. This was one of the early modules. This covers the administration function. I don't know if the people that are on this call or in this webinar have access to data dictionary online, but the focus here is that I want you to see what the simulator looks like, because when it's an online facility like data dictionary, and when we get to it with data query and ideal, etc., I'm going to accept the terms. You have an introductory slide. Lesson 1 basically just describes how to get to data dictionary online, the different access paths to it, and also the batch utility. And then we go to the lab simulation. So this is actually going to emulate an online 3270 session. In fact, that's Mark's job, is to take the software that he uses to develop the courseware and capture the screens. I have to go through and do the same thing. So the PowerPoint that you're about to see, all these screens, are in the PowerPoint presentation as well. So this explains just the mechanics of how to use the facility. So this will be at the beginning of each of the courses, but once, of course, you've learned the mechanics, you can just bypass the screen and you can just go directly to the lab. But it just explains how to navigate in the simulator. Certain things that are a combination of actually using your keyboard. I got to start it, and or using the virtual screen up here. Okay, in other words, the PF keys, for the most part, if it tells you to do or use a PF key, you need to use these. Your actual keyboard keys will not necessarily work. So, because it's the emulator that picks it up. But anyways, you can see it wants us to sign on. And it tells you what you're supposed to enter. In this case, the tab key actually does work, but the PF keys don't. So you enter the sign-on information, and it takes you to the first main menu of Data Dictionary Online. You notice that there's this information box that's up in blocking part of the screen, but basically this is telling you what this particular screen represents. I'm not going to read all of this, but it explains where you are in the process. And you also notice that it's got active boxes up here where you can enter data. Okay. Once you've read through this, you can eliminate it. So by clicking this, you can toggle it back and forth. You say, well, I'm ready to move on. Again, in the bottom right, it will give you the input information in this case. And what that box was explaining to you is that you can either use a menu number or you could use a command. And so I'll just go ahead and use the menu number, which was 4. If it was wrong, it would have told me it's wrong. For example, if I type 3 by mistake, it doesn't do anything. So, okay, please enter 4. All right. I hit enter. It comes to the next screen. And in the case of administration mode, you have to re-verify your password. And that takes you into the actual administration menu. Again, you see the pop-up, talks about security. I'm not going to read all of that. And so it gives you what you're supposed to do next. Okay. It says enter the command in the command input area or option number in the panel to display a profile index. Well, you can look down here, here's an index profile. So I'm supposed to put 7. Well, it tells you that. Over here these are the actual commands that you would put up here. Notice it's just I'll stop moving it. Display index profile. Display index profile. So if you're not familiar with Data Dictionary, this is the way it's functionally laid out, to where you can either use menu options or you can use commands. Obviously, once you learn commands over time and you have these reminders every time you get to the screen, you can bypass. You can learn how to accelerate your usage of dictionary online by bypassing certain menus by issuing the command. These commands can be entered at any level, and it'll take you right to that particular screen. So option 7. And again, this is describing and telling you what each of these profiles does or what it means. You can get rid of it. Here's where we're using the PF keys. Okay, PF2 to return back to the main menu. And so it takes us back here to the the main menu of administration. Okay. So anyway, I don't know if there's much more I need to, I guess, demonstrate, but if you want, well, it says off, but it will show you that you need to, in this case, it's maintain person, etc. If also, oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to show you, I'm sorry. If once you've gone through and you've entered and you type, etc., if you're not really interested in doing all the typing, you just want to kind of view, I'm going to go back to the beginning. And if you just want to walk through the demonstration or the emulation or the simulation, however you want to refer to it, you also have the ability to do that with the menu bar down here on the bottom. Okay, so I can go to the right, screen to screen, and it has the information basically filled in that it's supposed to display, so that you can just actually then walk through the emulation. And notice up to the point I actually entered data, it's still there. So after going through it, notice the 7 is still there. So if you went through the whole course and then came back to the beginning and went through it again, it fills in all of the input fields for you. So all you need to do is continue to go forward. And so I can continue, even though I'm not entering data, I can take you to each of the screens. This time it's entering the data, etc. If there's an important area that we want you to take note of on the actual display itself, then it'll be in a box. It'll be highlighted in an orange box. And so on this particular screen, what we want you to focus on is the profile that's been assigned to this particular user ID, etc. The fact that they can do utility functions, they can do display functions, and it explains up here, you notice that all of these others are no, they're all N. So it's explaining the fact that this particular profile only allows you to do display functions. And this also applies to not only the online environment, but batch as well. So the only utility, data dictionary utility that the user ID user 6 that was created could execute successfully is the DD utility report. It can only generate reports, cannot do any kind of maintenance. The utility would fail, is not authorized. And so take it to the end. And we're done. You've completed this lab simulation. You can close the window. So I close the window and it takes you back here. So I don't have anything else to demonstrate. So I could go to other simulations, but I think the idea here is just to give you a good view of the kind of web-based training modules that are out there for all of the different components of Datacom. Currently, pretty much all of DB Utility is out there. Multi-user facility functionality is out there. The Data Dictionary Online is coming out. The entity display function is going to be the next one that'll be published, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. And then continue on from there with the data dictionary. So beyond data dictionary, I guess one of the questions we're going to ask you following my demonstration is, if you're familiar with the Datacom components and product offerings, what other components beyond data dictionary do you feel would be important to have a web-based training module developed for? And we have a roadmap that I'm following, but we want to deliver the modules or the training that our customers feel is most relevant to them at this point in time, and not have to wait any longer than necessary. In other words, we really would appreciate your feedback or input on what topic areas you think are important. I will say that there's been some significant new features added to Datacom multi-user facility, online area move, online table move, linear VSAM, et cetera. The training modules for those is pending. So, because those features are new. So that's one of the things we're looking at or thinking about doing in the short term, so that the people that are current Datacom customers and want to use this as a way of learning how to use those new tools or those new facilities in Datacom can use the training course to learn how to implement and utilize those particular features. So with that, I guess I'll turn it back over to you, Len.
Thanks, Al. So guys, who's going to be taking over the sharing now? Is Nikisha, you taking over now?
Yes, I'll take it.
All right, and this is also when you want the second poll to go out, right?
Yes.
All right. So while Nikisha's getting her screen set up, I'm going to go ahead and launch the second poll. And once again, it takes a few seconds to distribute. This is still distributing, taking a little bit longer than usual. All right, responses are starting to come in now. So only about 30% of you have responded, so we'll leave it out there for another 15, 20 seconds. Let's say 5 more seconds. Here we go. People are still voting, so I'm going to leave it out there just for another little bit. All right, it looks like the voting has slowed down and stopped, so let's go ahead and close that. Nikisha, your screen is not visible at this point, just so you know. There we go. We see it now.
It's working? Okay.
Yep.
Hello, everyone, again, and I'll just summarize with an overview of our educational offerings. We'll be sending out this reference material with you and post it up to communities. But today we cover an overview of our mainframe course catalog, and we'll provide these resources to you so you'll learn what product courses we have available. We have courses, we have learning paths, we have badges. We'll show in the resources how you can access that learning and how you can access the badges as well. And then before we wrap up, I definitely want to encourage you all to join the Broadcom mainframe education community. It's a great way to connect with us and to learn all the updates with the educational offerings. And please join us on social media. We have our LinkedIn profiles, our YouTube channels, our communities, and our Twitter feeds. And Angelica, do you want to make any more references to those points?
No, those were great. By following, I guess the only thing I will add is by following, let's say me on LinkedIn or even Twitter, you will get to see some of the announcements or all of the announcements for courses that we're releasing on a daily, weekly basis. Thank you, Nakisha.
Awesome. So we look forward to hearing from you all there. And in other ways, we'd also like to give you some overview of how you can stay informed from a Datacom perspective. We have our communities on Datacom Cadre, community.broadcom.com. And with this community platform allows you to talk with us directly and also to start discussions and ask questions at any time. There's a section on there for ideas, so you can post up new enhancement requests and pain points and vote on ideas or comment on ideas that other people have posted. And we take those into consideration when we build our roadmap and strategies. Another important way is to join our validation program. It's not a big time requirement. There are only one meeting a month, and we will post up software enhancements to the validation site for you to test. So you get a chance to influence the direction and the software before we go GA. There's no mandatory requirements to test, but we encourage you to test if you're able to. Or just join the validation meetings and listen to what is planned and what's going on and be able to share your thoughts and insights with us. We are also continuing forward with our monthly webcast series as our session is today. Those will continue to take place on the second Thursday of each month. As part of that series, we've added in our quarterly office hours as well as our interactive idea session. With the interactive ideas, what we'll do is do some live voting on ideas, present an overview, and get a chance to ask questions and help narrow down our long backlog. Another way to stay informed is through our Tech Docs channel. We have in Tech Docs a section for release notes, and under there you'll see a section called New Features, and that is a great way to stay up to date with all the latest enhancements we've been delivering with continuous delivery. And if you haven't noticed yet, we have updated our Broadcom Datacom website. We've revamped the material, added new resources, benefits, links, white papers, videos, and a whole bunch more. So please take a look at our Broadcom Datacom website and let us know what you think. Another initiative we're starting will be Embrace Open workshops, and we'll describe this more at the upcoming MTE conference. But our Embrace Open workshops available at no cost, and it gives you a chance to practice and get hands-on experience with a lot of our modernization technologies. The goal is to help you with adoption and learning and be able to help people with some of the skills and learning challenges they may face when trying to try some of these new modernization solutions. They're facilitated by our Broadcom technical services teams as well as our Datacom product team staff. And the workshops are set up where you can either use your own systems or you can use our Broadcom hosted environments. And we have a lot of initiatives that we are looking forward to working with you all on. Coming up soon is our Broadcom Mainframe Technical Exchange, or MTE conference. This gives you a chance to connect with us. It's virtual again this year. We have many product tracks, including a Datacom track, where we have, I believe, about 12 or 13 sessions, all related to Datacom. It is registration is free and open to all Broadcom customers, so please register today if you haven't done so. I think I have, a slide that kind of shows you all of our Datacom specific sessions. So on Tuesday the 4th, we have starting from 9 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern, we have, including the keynotes, we have 4 sessions there. And then on Wednesday, October 5th, going from 8 a.m. all the way to 1 p.m., we have some additional sessions. Some of sessions take place at the same time. Many of them are pre-recorded, so you might be able to listen to one session live and another session later in the day. And on Thursday, we have additional sessions planned as well. You'll note the 2 yellow stars there. So most of the sessions are pre-recorded, where you'll hear a video first, and then after the video, we'll have a live Q&A portion. But some of them are a live session, which means there is no pre-recording, but you'll have to attend that live if you want to access that material. And we also have a related session given by a few of our Datacom engineers in the Millennial track called Millennial Mainframer's Journey to support our software. And so please stay tuned to that one as well. We have MTE sessions planned to give you an overview of our Datacom roadmap and new features. We talk about many of our latest new enhancements, SQL Performance Analyzer, buffers above the bar, vSAN linear data sets, a whole bunch more. We have presenters from our cadre community also. So not only will you hear from our Broadcom technical staff, but you'll hear from your customer base as well. We have presentations given by our engineering leadership team and many of our Datacom engineers as well. So a lot of great content within Datacom and also outside of Datacom. And then lastly, just a short reminder that we did go end of service for Datacom AD for releases 14.0 and 15.0. So please upgrade to Datacom AD 15.1 as soon as possible if you haven't done so, and reach out to us if you need help with that. And we did produce some videos to help you through your upgrade process. And so please reach out to us if you can't find those materials. They should be posted on our educational websites. But if not, please reach out to us if you need assistance. And that pretty much wraps up our presentation for today. Our contact details are on the screen. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you, Len. You can wrap up.
All right, everybody. I don't see any questions, so we'll go ahead and wrap up right now. Just a reminder that we do have that survey that's going to pop up. There is a field there where you can also ask a question if you have one, if something comes to mind. Thanks very much, and we will speak to you next time. Have a great day.